As I mentioned, the children are so important when it comes to working with a DOM that we need to linger on it a bit more. We know that children are just elements that are directly nested below another element. But let's take a step back. An HTML element may have many levels of other elements nested beneath it. And all of these nested elements are called descendants of our starting element. And in our previous examples, we've even seen that there are a whole lot of nested elements below, say, our body element. But there's one special type of descendant. And this special descendant is an element that's one nesting level below from a given node. And it's called a child element. And a child element, importantly, can only ever have one parent. We know that all text in your HTML is also a text node in the DOM. And that's why we saw that kind of peculiar nuance when we looked at our h1 tag, which we can say is the parent, when we tried to access its first child and last child. Thinking that it was going to return null, we saw that it actually returned the text itself, because that text is a child. It's a text node of the h1, of the parent. Does that make sense? The other thing worth mentioning is that we have a variety of methods available to us that allow us to look at children and children properties. We've seen some of these, but the ones I want to concentrate now are those called child nodes and children. Let's look at the differences between those methods, child nodes and children. So let's plop it on our screen here, and let's look at the differences. Firstly, if we use child nodes, it's going to return a node list. And remember, we've even gone through node lists previously in our lectures. How cool is that? And a node list can contain any type of node, right? Remember? So we know that accessing .child nodes returns all node children, including text nodes. Whereas if we look at the children property, we know that that returned an HTML collection. And we know we can access the .children method on any element because it's a property of an element. And only elements have this child property. Because of this, we know that these children are all of type element. It only contains an element type. And that is the biggest difference between child nodes and children, in that child nodes returns a node list of any type of node. Using the children method, on the other hand, will only return an element node. Yep, you guessed it. I'm tired of theory. Let's jump over to the text editor, and I want to go through an example showing you the difference between these two.